Why children should not experience Pohakuloa training area. This April 18th, school groups and the public are invited to spend a day experiencing the U.S. Army at Pohakuloa training area on Hawaii Island. The following video will explain why it is not a good idea for our children to be near this live fire training range. Radiation is blowing on the wind. Depleted uranium oxide, contaminated artillery range. Pohakuloa is contaminated with depleted uranium oxide. And DU oxides could be on any wind gust. Pohakuloa is bombed daily. Toxins are carried on the wind daily.
Let's go over Pohakuloa. All this stuff they tell us. They're never quite clear, they're never quite transparent. We're asking to do the samples. Remember, they told us there was no DU at all. Then they said, oh yeah, there's DU, but it's 700. Well, first of all, you told us there was nothing. Now that you tell us there's 700, why stop there? Why don't we just go do a survey and see how much there really is? Then you hear all this stuff like, well, DU is not dangerous. I agree. A bowling ball of DU, that's not dangerous. But in the dust form, in the oxide forms, it is. So when they tell you it's not dangerous, pin them down. Dust, DU, dust in the oxide form. Depleted uranium. Is that dangerous? No, it's sitting there as a lump. Okay. The minute you burn it or explode it and the dust comes out in the form of oxides too, that's really dangerous. Yes. And then it blows away or settles back down on the ground. The big chunks settle, the small stuff blows and we breathe it. That stuff on the ground, is that dangerous? No, that's like ashes. Well, then why are we worried? This was actually the military said. The dangerous stuff blew away, the stuff sitting on the ground, so we're not inhaling it until you bomb it again. There's really, once again, time for physics. What's the difference between a rapidly moving DU particle hitting a target, blowing up and exploding, burning, versus a chunk of DU material left over that gets hit by a bomb shrapnel at a very high speed? I checked the speed. Will a shrapnel hitting the DU versus the DU hitting a stationary particle, isn't that the same thing? Yes, physics said yes it is. So when you keep bombing and hitting these DU particles, the DU remnants, you'll burn them, you stir up more dust, and then of course some of the dust, you just stir it up more for us to breathe. That's why the bombing and the stirring up of dust generates more till all your remnants are burned. Well, how much remnants were there? I have no idea. At first you said 0, now you say spotting rounds. I think it's time we go do a good survey and measure it. Trying to say DU is safe, yeah, DU is safe, but dust form isn't. Well, even DU dust, Dr. Pang, we know from guys who mill, you know, guys who get the uranium or depleted uranium and mill and make little, shape the weapons to put in the bullet. Well, they don't have a problem. Yeah, because that's not DU oxide, that's DU, straight DU metal. And the final thing I would like to say is that we did monitor outside Pohakuloa training camp, the Girl Scout camps. We monitored 20,000 minutes in Kona. And we know what the Geiger counter readings look like. When we went up there, we had these 6 or 7 spikes in 6 hours, way off in left field. It's supposed to be like 20 or 30 counts per minute, normal background radiation. All of a sudden, there's 6 or 7 kind of high end. We didn't know what to do with them. And it could be cosmic rays coming through at high elevation, but it could be depleted uranium blowing in on the dust. But I've seen strange arguments against what I have learned and what Mike Reimer, emeritus professor, and Doug Rocky, PhD, health physics, Rosalie Bertel, the late Rosalie Bertel, PhD physics. I just don't see their arguments. And all we're asking is to be a reasonable, go ahead, let's do a survey. Let's not depend on existing or non-existing records of what was brought in. do a survey. Do not dismiss it that this is not a health effect until you can show me you've taken into account dust. Good luck, because the millirems things do not talk that much about internal exposure, and depleted uranium oxides, which clear the body in decades instead of weeks.